Hello, everybody. So, now that I have this kind of software that we have right here, that we're seeing right here, I want to put up video. You could see some of my old videos where I used Cam Twist, a Mac kind of thing that's like Minicam, to do this sort of thing. And so I want to put up uh, pictures and do filters and stuff. Haven't been, well, I've been doing a little bit of filters. The filters are not as fancy as they were with Cam Twist at this point, but they'll have to do an upgrade, so maybe they're better or more varied. But anyway, I want to do that, put up the images, and whatnot. But then I was thinking, what images do I want to have? And so I like this image of this house here, right, and this little country image down below. And then, so that's my house um, that I share with my family here and the people I live here with. So I finally bought a house. Now, when I was 48 years old, after a lifetime, after a lot of hard work, and definitely my wife's hard work because she did all of the arrangement of they want your taxes and all this stuff, which is just like, even when I did all that stuff myself, I was like, oh yeah, I have it in a box, or even if I knew the file system that it's in, just emotionally the idea of going and getting forms like that and sending them to people is excruciating. I can work 12 hours coding something that's just like, I guess I'll get started. It's going to be 12 hours. And yet, if I have 5 minutes of that, um, it's an emotional thing about that kind of work. It's related to why I like computers, because they do that kind of work for you. And it just seems like they should be doing that. For example, actually, doing taxes became tolerable with the tax preparing software. Like, no matter how much money you make, if you have to do your taxes, that software and it remembers from the last year all your shit you got to look up. And anyway, it's not that hard. When I sit down and just do it, like, oh, this is a job, I'll just do it. It's like, okay, this is straightforward. It's no worse than cleaning a bathroom. But emotionally, I'd much rather clean the bathroom than fill out a tax form. Anyway, so we worked hard, but I would not say I worked any harder than I ever had throughout my whole life. And I've always wanted a house, always been working for. I was in escrow once. Things just always happen and bullshit. Um, Crazy life. So, I'm very happy to have this house. It was always my dream. It really is a dream come true. And I don't literally own it. So, like, when I was out of work, um, I didn't really worry, but like I said in another video, part of that was like, well, I can always just, you know, have a gunfight when they try to drag me out of this place. I don't have to go alive. And so, sort of a dark, pessimistic way to continue to go on. Um, and that made me feel good in that it's like, yeah, I mean, what I have is a right to stay here as long as I continue to pay the mortgage. And that's actually a big right that I've never had as a renter my whole life for 48 years, or yeah, well, 48 years. Well, in high school, my parents bought a house. They had no equity either, but they had bought it, so same kind of thing. So if that counts, then I had 3 years of being in a house. But I always wanted my parents to get, and my parents wanted, and I did, and blah, 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 and it never have now finally happened. And all I ever wanted was a house in the woods. Just a humble little house in the woods. That would be the ideal thing. I don't mind having neighbors, um, per se, but the dream, be down a dirt road. For years, I was able to rent houses down dirt roads. I did better. Those were better times, always. But then that's skewed by the fact that I didn't start living on a paved road until I was like 35. Again, after I left the city in my 20s, and that was in Hawaii, and that didn't go good. So, but anyway, I was thinking, so I want to have these pictures. Why? Well, I know more and more personal information is getting shared, but why would I want to? Um, I've always valued people that did share more personal information, and not the personal nature, but even like if you didn't have any information about them, not a doxing kind of thing, but like they're artists. Artists share their personal experiences, and sometimes it's obvious what they've been through from their art, and sometimes it's not. But either way, from their point of view, it can often feel very revealing, even if other people can't really decode it into the actual experiences. There's vibes or whatever you want to call it, an emotional atmosphere that you can get. And that's one of the hard things about being an artist. And so I value that in vlogging and stuff. But I've never done it. And I like the idea of keeping it around the ideas. And so again, why would I want to do this? Well, I'm really happy with this place. And there's something about me wanting to advocate living because I've hooked onto this thing and I have this attitude that I'm going to die at this place. Hopefully, literally, I'll be at this place. But if not literally at this place, like I die in a theater or something, which is not very likely because I hardly ever go to theaters anymore. But this is where I'd be living. Or if I die in a hospital or something. But ideally, I'd literally die right here. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean a long time from now. But if it could all work out, that'd be good. I would like that. But I felt like I wanted to go on and keep trying, well before I got here. Um, so, this is a notch up from what I ever dreamt about in that it is in the woods. This one picture is from out the other side of the house, not the lake side. And it's on a lake, big body of water, which I feel very emotionally and poetically attached to water and bodies of water. And it's a particularly clean lake, and that's nice. And I don't feel pride actually. In the place of a pride, I feel a little bit of guilt because um, if you have a place that you like, and I've always liked the place that I live to certain degrees, you can carve out and make it a place you like. Um, but that's different. Um, there's a bit of a guilt in that. I think everybody should have, if not, uh, everything they would dream of, want, but some sort of a minimal thing. Because see, I'm not like, I want a mansion and it's in the woods with the helicopter pad and a fancy car, like I used to draw these kinds of estates when I was a kid, when I was into architecture. And that's all cool, but I learned, I wanted a really humble thing that also isn't humble. It's like what suits me, and it's not um, a maximization of the amount of money resource you could put into something, but sort of an optimization. And in our society, real estate's just been ridiculous. Oh yeah, so did I say I don't know if I'm going to do I was wondering if I was going to do a Hangout or not. I was thinking of starting it up now again after the New Year's here. We had 2 weeks, I think it was, that I didn't do one. But I'm not sure. If people are around, comment, and I'll open one. On the other hand, maybe I won't. I have another video I was going to make. So anyway, it's not pride, because many, many reasons. Because one, any pride is being filtered through, if anything, a guilt of, hey, I like it. I wish you would get what you like. Um, um, and yet, it's also not what a lot of people would like. It's a small little house. The bottom there is just partly finished. I'm in the office, the finished part. And I like it, but your head will bump into the lamp here. The floor down here has a carpet on it because this isn't the finished part, but it's probably 6 inches higher on one side than another. And, and over there, the laundry room's still just concrete. So it's like there's a 900 square foot house, and underneath is a somewhat finished, and so it's all, it's very small and it's old fashioned. It has a few things that the old couple that had it before made that I think are really nice, but they tend towards the utilitarian. Like it's got a metal roof, which just sheds the ice and snow, and it doesn't even build up. It just slides off. And so that's cool and things like that. It's got a nice big septic system they replaced as they were trying to sell a house. It's got probably the one big luxury I really like, I might have mentioned, it's got a whirlpool tub. I know this is a little regular size one. It's got bubbles. It's got glass doors on that shower tub, which, not big things. This is not like the Ferrari Testarossa. So, I don't think a lot of people would want this house out here. It's down a half-mile dirt road that, it's been like inches of ice and stuff. It could be very difficult to get in and out. We could be trapped down here and that kind of thing. So I don't think a lot of people want to live that way, but I do exactly. And moving to Maine, there's a lot of these kinds of places because it's really all I just wanted something carved out of the forest. And willing for much less than that, because I definitely got to the point where any home that I would own, just in this principle of, if as long as you pay this rent that's fixed for 15, 30 years, then you have these rights. So I realize this because I'm happy with it. I like looking picture. I think it just becomes aesthetically um, like a flag for myself or whatever. If 360 degrees was like this green picture here down below, um, that would have already matched my goal. Now, my view on age is such that to be here at 49, that's good enough. But that's kind of old too. I kind of think, I was the kind of person who wanted to settle down and have a little country home like this. I would have been just as happy with this any time in my life since I was out on my own since 17. And so is that a long time to work? Is it worth it to keep working for something like that? Not everybody will get it. The thing they want that's similar. Maybe they're like, they're like Heroin Church, and they want a penthouse that costs $10 million. That'll be a lot harder to get, less likely. So anyway, leave a comment if you want to have a hangout, because I'm up in the air. The other video I wanted to make was about this video Quintica made. He also mentioned another interesting thing. So about how you have a different persona for different groups of people that you might be in, and your reputation, and there's something inherently dishonest about human beings in that. And I would say it's not necessarily a dishonesty, but I get your point. Sure, we could call it that. And there's other elements to that. He also said that at one point his Google Plus spammed him with my docs from my LinkedIn. Right now, LinkedIn has my picture, my resume, where I've lived, all sorts of stuff, because you really need it. In my industry, everybody goes and checks it, and in fact, you can get contacted. When I applied to Tesla Motor Corp a few years ago, it didn't go anywhere, but I was told by my sister's recruiter for a company, oh, you have to use LinkedIn now. It's been like 10 years since I'd looked for work. So you have to use LinkedIn. So I did that, and that's when I got cold contact from Google, which the Google campus is like the chocolate factory, but to work there seemed like you have to be an Oompa Loompa. So it was just chaotic. I couldn't handle that. Remote work's great for me to have the privacy of my own. And I like noise, but I don't just want random noise and have to put on noise canceling headphones to try to listen to the podcast. I like it more like this, and I'll turn on the TV and have whatever noise I want. If I want to turn it off or have it be classical music or whatever, you can do that. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And and also why people ask me, "Oh, why are you talking to Quintica?" And it's like, well, he's intelligent. I think he's thought through, gotten information that he feels is relevant to him, and we have a difference of opinion. That's what I'm looking for. My ideal is we'd get over a lot of this stuff. He'd understand, and I'd understand, but it's like we would go ahead and blow each other up. Like, you remember that cartoon where Wile E. Coyote plays this coyote, and then there's a sheepdog, and they have a thing where the sheepdog is guarding the sheep, and the coyote is trying to get the sheep, and it's kind of a road runnery type thing. And then at the end of the day, they check out with their time card. They go, ka-ching, oh, good night, Ed, good night, Bill, whatever it is. And that's kind of my romantic idea of what we do. It's like that we could be firing these imaginary missiles, which we're serious about. I destroy your battleship of social justice denial or whatever. And then at the end of the day, it's like, hey, okay, see you tomorrow. Because we're doing an activity. We're doing an activity that we share, we enjoy, we think is valuable or fun or whatever, for whatever compulsion or optional reason we have, we do it. I personally think it's part of the zeitgeist, the human consciousness as a group, our public conversation, and then it's even international. People that know more than one language take things they heard. It goes all over the world, and with the internet, literally and quickly. And that's, so we don't have to hating each other just because, let's face it, if the audience is going to get swayed, that's one thing. Because the people out there that are stay in the audience aren't interested. They're interested in being swayed. They're trying to hear things that'll actually ring a bell in their own head of, oh yeah, that's what I think, and then have put words on it, and that seems like it sways them, but really it's just a part of an evolution, an autodidactic evolution that they're doing themselves. And we are a part of that, and if that's what you're into, great. But the other person is not supposed to become one of those guided people or a follower or any of that, right? And so we should respect each other. And yeah, so I do appreciate that he didn't try to use that information. It's inevitable that it's going out there. People have gotten my information, as I was telling Kritika. One guy um, during the Trayvon Martin stuff, did a little private investigating on me. And that was okay. And he told me, he says, no, I'm not going to use it. And I believed him. I could tell the tone of voice. I mean, I didn't know, but I thought from his tone of voice, from his attitude, yeah, he just, he knew you could go look up who a person really was. And he got to the point where he was curious about me, and he found out. And you can find the Facebook. I don't even use Facebook, but there's one out there, so I've communicate with my family sometimes. And go on it about every 6 months or something. I just really can't stand Facebook, but then I wish I'd use it more because there's all these people in my family that use it. And so, but anyway, found it, stuff like that. And, and I've been in Hangouts where I mention my full real name. and, for a few years I blogged under my real name at the New York Times, specifically because I knew this was coming some year, and that was like 20 years ago. Or 15, and because I knew this was coming, and evidently it's just got to the point where Google's doxing you. So, I think it's not fair to dox people, mostly because we're not in a protected world. Some employers are assholes, and yeah, you'd be better off not working for them. So obviously, by the way, this picture is. This picture is it was like just a couple days ago. Or yesterday, actually, from the lake. You can walk on the lake now. So we walked across the lake to a jumping rock across the lake from us. So there I totally distracted myself. What was the other thing I was saying? Anyway. So I do appreciate that from Quintica, because I know some people would try to use that. On the other hand, it's coming. I actually have a lot of projects, and I'm still working on that. I'll roll out, and I've thought about this a lot. I'm like, I'm not going to make another channel from scratch. I don't have Facebook stuff. There's ways I'm going to promote it. This isn't crucial to any of it, but like if I make a piece of debate software, debate site, which I still work on this and approaching it again. You guys are the ones, we're the hobby, we're the group that wants to use it. And when you go get that and download it as an app or whatever, however it works, you'll see my company. and that's going to be a way to look me up and know my docs. And it should be that way. And so maybe it's at a point that I'm 49, it's just inevitable. Plus, I would be annoyed if my boss, people I work with, my companies, ever had to deal with some sort of spam, getting emailed a bunch about me. That would be annoying. But I know they could handle it. I know they would blame the idiots on the internet more than me. As a contractor, I've wondered, well, that'd be different. On the other hand, as a contractor, it's a lot harder. Um, my latest, who I'm actually working for at the latest moment, even LinkedIn and stuff was not up to date with that kind of thing. But I appreciate, and I didn't think he would use. I mean, he had an explanation for what he did with conference port that I disagree with, but is legit. I mean, it's not like he's just out there because he's generally doing that sort of thing or he uses it as a tool because he doesn't like that person. He did it because of his own moralisms, from my point of view, about, in other words, conference report is a punk artist. He has art that it does try to shock people. It tries to provoke people into the kind of thing that Quintica did. And in a sense, that made it inert so that we could get past it, right? If it was somebody who was just disagreeing with them and he did, well, that's a different thing. So he did not do it vindictively, he did it on topic. And I acknowledge that. And actually, the reason I brought it up again is because I thought you should just realize that I'm treating with you honestly. I might be confused. Maybe my own ideas are wandering and I can't keep track of it. All of that stuff could be true. But, I'm an honest participant here, and I gave you a break on something where you violated something in the sense I wouldn't do it, and I don't think it was good. And if it was a litmus test, I don't like what you decided to do. But I accepted your reasoning, and it's like the coyote and the sheepdog, you know. Um, you go quite wide because we're discussing ideas, and we should be honest about that. And you don't need to then say, and since you don't agree with me or can't acknowledge this point or these things I'm saying, do you keep bouncing off of your framework? You can't even seem to absorb it. That's just part of what happens that we're doing here. And you don't call people a bunch of liars and stuff just because they disagree. Calling them stupid, misguided, I know more than you about politics, that's all fair play. Okay. Cheers. So remember, the point of this video is comment if you could show up for a hangout this night in, say the next half hour or so. Because I don't know if I want to keep doing it. Because I'm having a question. I enjoy it, but I'm having a question of what is the purpose now? Because I'm noticing that my original purpose that I have learned from through this process of these conversations, first in text and news groups and Usenet, and then now YouTube so long, seems to have run out. I'm not going to stop this hobby, but like I've been saying, and it's happened before, and I've done things, move them to the next level. You might not even notice, but I mean, it satisfies me that I got to answer this question about why I'm doing this thing and the way I'm doing it. And, well, to be honest, I think the Hangout is a next level thing. That's why I was so good doing it regularly, have been. But I'm not sure. Something's missing from it, or maybe there's a software problem with it. It could just be something simple, like if we could show videos, right, in Mystery Science Theater videos and get the audio, because the audio doesn't work, and I don't want to do the out loud kind of thing, or I tried with Manycam, but it didn't work as far as getting the audio of the video into the, Hangout. That would probably change it for me. But those are important points, right? I would like to have a conversation around the primary information, and partly because of the way we interact and how do we sustain a conversation if it's true, like I said, that it's not like we're going to be changing our point of view. The purpose is to get more out about our point of view and make a big mural with it, all the information in there, means all seen, right? And I think to do that, it would help if we could show videos, news clips, things like that, and comment on them sort of while being exposed to them at the same time. And all I'm saying there is it's not a big change that I'm asking for, but I'm looking for some sort of detailed change that makes us feel like we're getting our piton into the next place up so we can keep climbing up. Because if we're just swinging around on the rope at the same elevation, that's not ultimately the point. It's just a part of it.